Hello and good afternoon. Today we will be doing a webinar on future-proofing your career and integrating the power of digital. My name is Alexander Leach and I actually work in the ACCA education team in the Middle East. I'm really looking forward to today's webinar. We're live on all forms of social media platforms, so wherever you're watching, do say hello, say hi in the comments, whether you're on YouTube, Facebook, if you're on LinkedIn now as well. Please engage with me. It's really good when you do engage as an audience. If you're watching this back, even better. We'll be able to get our details. I'll provide them later. You'll get our contact details if you do have any questions following this webinar. Just before we do get stuck into it, as I say, it is live, and if you do have any technical problems, just do a quick refresh. Hopefully you'll be able to come back on and go from there. My name is Alexander Lee. Just a little bit about myself before we sort of work through our lovely agenda. I am an ACCA member. I've been a member since 2015 and I'll actually be a fellow as of this month, something I'm very much looking forward to. I've worked and specialised in education for many years now. Previously, I lectured and worked for a global training partner, and I did my ACCA whilst working for a global financial services firm, professional advisory through PwC. I also have worked with many other institutes in different roles, so I'm very sort of broadly understanding of the different qualifications. But as an ACCA member, I really am a massive advocate for the qualification, and I really can't wait to tell you all about how you can future-proof your career and harness many of the opportunities that are here today for you as potential students, affiliates, and also members. So the agenda to start with, we do have an hour set, but we could often, move that around in terms of whether we need a little bit more time or a little bit less, and we can add some Q&A as we go along. But the agenda is that I'll give you an overview to start with of the ACCA qualification and how I refer to it as your global passport. It's a fantastic qualification which offers you global and social mobility, and I'll drill down into that in a little bit. I'm then going to touch on our Digital Intelligence Hub, which is an ACCA hub available for you, students, members, and affiliates, and the general stakeholder population to learn more about how digital innovations and digital technologies are being harnessed throughout the accountancy profession. I'll also talk about our professional insights reports and actually pull out two, which really do show you the value of being more digital in today's world. I'll then link it into study and study support resources, so my area of expertise, and talk about how different things such as online learning has become such a relevant part of how we deal and learn today, and also the trends within the learning industry. And then I'll save a little bit of time for Q&A if there is any. So who are we? Well, if you aren't aware, the ACCA is the world's most forward-thinking accountancy body. We do truly believe that accountancy is vital for economies to grow and prosper. And I think, given the current circumstances and in the midst of COVID-19 and the global pandemic, accountants are actually very well positioned to help with the management and the recovery of the economies and the economical impacts. And therefore, this is probably a fantastic time for those who are considering to join the profession to really actually seriously consider joining the ACCA, because we are the world's most forward-thinking accountancy body and a truly global professional body at that. We are the leaders. ACCA accountants understand teamwork and how to maximize opportunities. We understand that is an essential part to drive businesses forward, and we're often regarded as very good communicators, and that's an essential skill and something that I'll touch on later in regards to the quotients of ACCA and an ACCA professional, those skill sets that we need. We need accountants to be good communicators. We are sustainable, and we challenge things in terms of sustainability in today's problems to try and find sustainable solutions to the future of the world that we want to live in. We speak the global language of business, and being fluent can genuinely take you anywhere. I often say to people who are considering this profession that although you may start as an accountant, doing your debits and credits and understanding the nuts and bolts of a business, a financial statement, international accounting standards and audit standards, taxation, insolvency, and all that wonderful terminology and the different acronyms you learn along the way, but ultimately, that's a language that you do need, and every business needs to be successful at any stage in your career, at any place in the world. And we are very much more than numbers, but if you do want to talk about the numbers, talk about the number of lives changed, the systems improved, the business successes, and the environments saved. We are leaders, we are sustainable, we speak the global language of business, and we are much more than numbers. The ACCA qualification truly is your global passport. We have over 200,000 members all around the world in 179 countries. We have over 500,000 students, again, all around the world. We have ACCA offices in 57 countries, and we have over 100 offices at that. And we have over 340 quality tuition providers, be that through an approved learning partner or a registered recognized learning partner. And they actually do the teaching of the ACCA qualification to help you on your journey. Now, we're very much an inclusive professional qualification membership body. So we do believe that you can start a career at any age, from any demographic, from any background, and you don't just have to come in with a degree to then be a professional qualified chartered accountant. We understand that many people will change their careers throughout their lifespan, and that's a really good thing to sort of harness and understand, that you can move in through this qualification in an incremental stepped approach. So you could start off with a diploma in accounting and business, or maybe an advanced diploma in accounting and business. You can then do, whilst you do your professional qualification, so the ACCA qualification, which is mapped at master's level on a global scale, you can also do an Oxford Brookes applied accounting degree. And then in addition to that, you can take and do the option to do a University of London Masters in professional accounting. So we do believe that we are significantly value for money qualification as well, because, for example, if you choose to do the ACCA professional qualification, so become a chartered accountant, a certified chartered accountant, you can then choose to do an additional degree or an additional master's. And many of our students leave with plus an additional qualification. So they don't just have one, they have two, three, or even four. So a little bit about the ACCA Digital Intelligence Hub. What is it? Well, I love this infographic. I think it's really powerful. We look to harness the power of digital with leading research and resources. You can access our Digital Intelligence Hub by going online. I'll put the link in a minute. But if you are not aware what it is, it's ACCA resources for data and technology learning all in one location. It creates a structured and curated resource hub that you can filter and use if you're a member, an affiliate student, or anyone. Why use it? Users can search and access a range of data, digital and technology resources specifically selected by ACCA for the relevance to your professional development. What's on the hub? Well, we've got insights reports. I'll be talking a little bit more about them as we go along. The Accounting and Business magazine articles, which is now a purely digital accountancy magazine, fantastic magazine for all those wanting to keep up to date with the latest innovations throughout the industry. There's useful resources such as webinars and videos. For those who have to continue and do their CPD, so ACCA Continuous Professional Development courses, you can access them through the hub. We also have our Ethics and Professional Skills module on data analytics, which is a fantastic module for students and members to upskill on their ethics and professional skills, data analytics, leadership skills, as well as other ethical considerations throughout the profession. And there is a correlation, lovely nice phrase there for those who are interested in the data and the analytics side of accounting, a correlation between those students who do the Ethics and Professional Skills module and then passing the strategic professional level of our qualification. We also have the relatively new, I think it was launched earlier this year around April time, so still pretty brand new in fact, the Certificate in Digital Innovation for Finance. In addition to, you can access the ACCA's competency framework and our professional experience requirements objectives, all on our hub. To access it, you go to digitalhub.accaglobal.com, and you can hopefully find the link now there. So a little bit on insights and the professional insights section. We have a team of leaders, world leaders in professional insights to answer today's questions to prepare us for tomorrow. Now, this is something that I would refer to as necessary commercial acumen reading. And you can access this on our website. Professional Insights have a host of resources and reports. So here I've pulled out a few, and I'm going to talk through a few that relate to technology, artificial intelligence, data, as well as the future of the accountancy profession and also the future of learning. So here we've got one of the reports, Meaningful Work for Digital Professionals, a roadmap beyond the pandemic, which is extremely important for us as professionals to look forward to what we will be able to do to help the economies and societies going forward. We have Professional Insights, the Digital Accountant, so digital skills in a transformed world. Explanation of Artificial Intelligence, another one there. Articles on digital leadership, audit and technology, so how businesses harness the use of latest technology within the profession, cyber and the CFO, machine learning, which is what we'll talk about a little bit in detail today, which is more science than fiction, reinventing internal controls in the digital age, the passionate practitioner to developing the digitalized small and medium practices. So our research here looks at SMEs and even smaller practices and how they may need support with implementing the digital side of a business these days. Embracing robotic automation during the evolution of finance. We'll talk a little bit about RPA today as well. Grow and create competitive advantage and taking advantages of risk and regulatory complexities. So here we go, machine learning, more science than fiction, a fantastic report. To give you a little bit of research background, it was a survey of circa just over 2,000 ACCA members and affiliates in over 111 countries. It was held in conjunction with a roundtable on ethics in machine learning in conjunction with the Financial Reporting Lab, which is the learning and innovation hub for the Financial Reporting Council in the UK. Now, machine learning is actually a branch of artificial intelligence. And it's interesting because part of our research and part of the work that we do all around the world really tries to understand how big of a population our sort of members and our stakeholders are embracing technology. And we see this as something that's extremely important to drive us as the leaders of the professional qualifications in the professional industry. We asked our sort of participants, is artificial intelligence hype or reality? And based on what you can see in your workplace environment, now this was just a little over a year ago, and you can see that now, so just in sort of 2019, 34% realized that all was currently just sort of a hype or reality. And then we actually see that the vast majority of people believe that in the next 3 years, which now would be in the next 2 years, we believe that artificial intelligence will entirely be a reality. And that's quite something that's interesting. So there's a big shift that most people, most of our respondents really see it as something that will have a big impact on how we perform our work, whereas smaller amounts of people don't necessarily believe it will have any impact. When I talk to students and different stakeholders, I talk about how they believe what artificial intelligence is. And I only had this literally the other day on another webinar that we were hosting with a large employer in the region. And they talked about, artificial intelligence potentially looking to replace humans. Now, I firmly believe that that is not the case. Artificial intelligence is not just humanoid robotics. And I love this image here of a human-sized robot. It's very much not the case. Artificial intelligence is really trying to improve our decision making and our ability to deal with vast amounts of data in a society and industries full of big data. We as accountants have placed very well to try and harness that to inform us and make better informed decisions and ultimately allow our clients and other stakeholders to do the same. I often refer to, the film, which was a Will Smith film back in the day, I, Robot. And I think this is something that students and myself even thought would happen, but we haven't seen this. Artificial intelligence is more or less in relation to our software systems and creating robotics that help us with our work and decision-making process, not replacing us. And it leaves space for us as professionals to do higher level strategic thinking and give higher level advice, as opposed to doing the nuts and bolts, maybe the debits and credits that we can now get computers to do for us. One of the key hurdles that I've seen throughout the research, and one of the sort of things that's highlighted in the report, is how well are each of these terms understood. And it's actually quite telling that many people are really struggling to understand, well, what is artificial intelligence? What is data analytics? Where does machine learning fit into this, as well as robotic process automation and natural language processing? Now, I find all of this very fascinating, but just like yourselves, when you're setting out on your journey in any profession, so even in accounting, we have to learn the basic terminology. So just a little overview and to navigate a minefield of terminology. So artificial intelligence is the overall sort of realm in which many of these fit in. And you can see things like machine learning, deep learning, natural language processing all fit within the realm of artificial intelligence. Data analytics is a nice overlap on this diagram because there are many elements of data analytics, such as regression or correlation, which I touched on earlier, and the analytics of trends that feed into artificial intelligence and machine learning. But then we've got robotic process automation as a separate section underneath completely separate from this diagram. So if I just touch on a few of these, machine learning being the first one, is a subset of artificial intelligence that makes predictions or decisions based on analysis of a large historic data set. And therefore, we can make improved and better informed decisions. So if, for example, machine learning is something that you want to try and relate to your own examples, I use the recommendations that we get through cookies on our websites. That's an element of machine learning. So when you go online shopping and all of a sudden you know that you've been looking for a certain, I don't know, a certain mobile phone, and it gives you recommendations to buy a case and a screen protector, that's an element of machine learning through our online shopping habits. Whereas robotic process automation is pieces of programmed software that implements a defined sequence of activities, very much like, and hopefully you might be familiar with, very much like a high-end macro that we have pre-programmed, we click start on, and then it does a lot of the processing for us. Within machine learning, we've got deep learning. So this is actually used in, and an example would be the medical diagnostics field. So we run several different programs through different layers of data, and this draws conclusions from them. And it does it in a way that's very much quicker than if we were able to do it ourselves. So we're using machine learning and deep learning by harnessing many different stacks or even fields of data to give more informed decisions. When you see that in diagnostics, medical diagnostics, it helps to create a better analysis of people's symptoms and therefore better informed and timely decision processes on treatments. And the one that I really love and one that students really do like and many stakeholders relate to, natural language processing. NLP adds context to many of our sort of spoken language. So computers often can identify specific words, or traditionally have been able to identify specific words and sentences, and they look at them in data. But NLP provides context through maybe, myself having colloquialisms of being Northern of English, but other people speak slightly differently, and NLP picks up on that. The best example of artificial intelligence through machine learning that takes NLP is things like Siri or even Alexa. When you talk to it and you ask certain questions, it creates that sort of semantics. It understands the semantics of our language, of human language, and it'll be able to take actions as a result of that. So one of the key things, just to sort of summarize here, is that there is a significant amount of artificial intelligence terminology, and it's important for us to try and understand and break them down into their separate parts and understand what overlaps and what does not. The status of machine learning adopted by organizations really does change. 2 in 5 of the report have adopted relative activities. But you can see from here that 6% fully production mode dealing with live data. We've got 3% advanced testing with go live within the next 3 to 6 months of the time of this report. We've got early stage preparation within go live to 12 months. And then if we move into blue, initial discussions on exploring the concepts and ideas of 24%. No plans for adoption. It'd be interesting to see over a year on whether that's changed. And many people, just over a fifth, didn't know. Some of the barriers for using machine learning in an organization, and the one that's really important to me being an educationalist, is the lack of skilled staff. And if we identify that as an opportunity, be that we see that there is a lack of skilled staff within the accountancy field or within the sort of artificial intelligence and computing field within organizations, we can try and fit our learning and development to that. One of the other big barriers was a cost implication. So one of the advantages that you could look to see within relation to machine learning would be the actual intellectual bookkeeping, where software learns how to code regular items. Now, having worked for a big 4 organization and had many clients when I worked as an accountant, I can completely understand the administrative nature of coding invoices. And I would have absolutely loved to have adopted machine learning in intelligent bookkeeping when I was working in practice. And I saw the inception of many of these things, like, for example, software that could sincerely just take a picture of an invoice or even upload the invoice digitally through a cloud and then automatically invoice code it and then pay invoices with connections to the bank systems and link them in with individual reference numbers. That creates a huge amount of time saved for people and humans, which then will in turn allow us as humans and individuals to learn higher level skills and add a lot more value. Other applications that you can probably see and probably understand through the intelligent bookkeeping software that data analytics has been able to sort of create for us, and as well as machine learning, artificial intelligence, fraud detection, risk-based approaches to audit by the actual data being sampled by the computer system, managing complexities in taxation, so different, and I've seen this throughout the Middle East, the rollout of VAT and being able to tag certain taxation requirements for reporting purposes. And that leads me quite nicely onto environmental and social and governance reporting as well. The opportunities as we continue to see them is that ultimately, as a professional accountant, we can bridge the gap between human and digital, because weak artificial intelligence does not fully replicate the human contextual understanding and integrated thinking. Professional accountants are expected to give an opinion, particularly if you're working as a professional advisor or as an auditor, and therefore we are liable to the consequences of our machines in which we integrate into our processes. There is legal, societal, and cultural values founded on the principles of only individual people or corporate entities can be held accountable. And there is judgment and interpretation that can be drawn on multiple factors, future choices, not just past patterns. The big one here, and there's another page on opportunities in a second, but algorithms are not just created out of thin air magically. They rely on us as humans to curate and select an appropriate sort of dominant knowledge basis. Our expertise is what feeds into the artificial intelligence and the robotic process automation, as well as the machine learning. And as a result of that, our machines and our RPAs are only as good as the things that we put into them, which is our algorithms. The opportunities are here with our professional quotients, and you can hopefully find a link as we go along to our 7 professional quotients of an accountant. We need a balance between digital quotients and emotional intelligence quotients. So therefore we can be savvy with our digital sort of technology by doing an ACCA qualification, which is embedded with the fundamentals of digital and digital innovation, and as well as our additional qualifications such as our certificate in digital innovation in finance. And we can actually look to implement that throughout our quotients. So we've got visioning, experience, intelligence, creative quotients, as well as technology and ethical competencies. Some of the key takeaways: there's a lot of new terminology and information to absorb. Organizations are using machine learning now or considering it in the near future. There is an awareness and understanding of which is not too high, but there are significant barriers to adoption. The main one being us humans and our fear or maybe lack of ability to understand the terminology, and also the cost implications as well. There are credible uses and relevance to the professional accountants, such as intelligent bookkeeping. There are ethical considerations, and we must act always underpinned by the professional and public interest. And there are opportunities for professional accountants to bridge the human and digital landscape. The next professional insights report I would like to touch on, because I think it leads really well into the findings of the prior report, that there is a gap or maybe a fear factor in terms of human interaction with artificial intelligence and the digital innovations today. There are 20 trends shaping the careers or our careers in accounting. And I actually believe the vast majority of them have some form of digital overlap. So the second one being connectivity. So digital drives and never seen before new opportunities to collaborate. And we are truly examples of that today, whilst you are connecting with me, wherever you are in the world, online. And we've seen that throughout the education space with our learning partners in universities and educational institutes moving to online delivery methods globally. The emergence of technologies which redistributes work between machine and man. And I think that's an interesting trend, because we talked there about robotic process automation very briefly, and how that allows us to pass on a lot of our processing work to ultimately software. The rise of big data possibilities become ever central to the role of a professional accountant. And you do need to understand and have a good grasp of big data and the value of big data. Never before have we ever had so much data. And part of our job is to take that data and create useful information for informed decisions. I actually am a big fan of the inclusivity of this trend here. So Generation Z, a new tech-savvy generation, enters the profession. And I often talk about as well the fact that there is an overlap as well between the different generations. We can have workplaces with 5 generations within their workforce and how we can learn from one another. So when you are looking to recruit Generation Z, come, I don't know, maybe in recent months, coming graduation, or those who are leaving from schools, or those who are looking for work, really see yourselves as having an advantage in terms of being able to share your understanding and being more digital and tech savvy. Skills transformation as a career adapts, ACCA professional quotients rise in relevance. We talked very briefly on those 7 quotients, and I'll touch on them again in the next slide. And then these 3 here, which link next to each other very nicely: the continuous learning, professional needs to continuously reinvent themselves and relearn, particularly in the pace of change. I know when I started as a chartered accountant, I was very much heavily focused on understanding, how a financial position looked and how accruals accounting worked and international accounting standards. But that's continued to evolve, and now I have an interest in sustainability accounting and education. So we can see that the need for these sort of continuous learning mindsets are really valuable as well. We create the learning cultures within our organizations because of the pace of change. We look to embrace that change within our organizations. And digital learning has been something that has fantastically been harnessed, is probably the best word, in recent months, given the COVID-19 pandemic, and how you, even right now watching this live or watching it back, are trying to embrace digital learning in its purest of form, which can be done via video link, blended learning approaches, or online through live lectures as well. There's also a need to understand that business models will continue to innovate and change, and technology allows for things such as what I'd refer to as disintermediation. So therefore you remove the middleman, or reintermediation, where you create maybe a forum to purchase and sell your services. Digital recruitment is a trend that I've seen very recently. With the COVID-19 restrictions which have been in place, many firms have moved to online recruitment, where they will actually perform an interview via a webcam, which I think is extremely exciting, and then do the onboarding via a digital Teams format, be that through Microsoft Teams, Zoom, Google, or any host of other digital recruitment and digital teams working. Accountancy careers in the 2020s, we broke them down into 5 different areas. So we've got the assurance advocate, the business transformer, the data navigator, the digital playmaker, and the sustainability trailblazer. But what I really love about the diagram over on this page with the lines and the sections is that it shows a nice weaving between the different 5 elements, different career zones, because we have the reality that many people will move between the different sort of areas. You might start in assurance, but then work your way across to working in the data navigator sector. You may start as a sustainability trailblazer, but then move into a digital playmaker area. And you can find more about each area of our career zones on the report itself. If you can go onto our Professional Insights website, and there's actually some really useful resources on there to learn more about how we see accountancy careers evolving in 2020s. Those 5 career zones are, and the diagram, which is a lovely circle, are engulfed by our 7 quotients. So we touched again on this earlier, but intelligence, technical and ethical quotients and competencies, creativity, as well as emotional intelligence, experience, the ability to vision, and also digital. And this is through career adaptation, skills transformation, and a continuous evolution of you as a professional. The ACCA qualification truly is your global passport, and and I've seen that work, through thousands and thousands of people who offer social and global mobility through the ACCA qualification. Now, I'm now going to talk a little bit about digital innovations in education. And I'm going to give you some practical applications of the power of digital and its resultant innovations throughout education, learning, and professional development. This is something that I'm very excited about. I really do advocate, that we are in a time of change, but the opportunities that it creates are absolutely fantastic. So what does the future of learning look like? Well, I really like this diagram. I like the fact that it's sort of, visioning with a headset where you could be in a virtual reality classroom, sat with people, in different parts of the world. And we've actually seen this come to life in recent years. And I know of many universities that have developed such technological innovations. And I think it's really exciting. Imagine, you can put on your headset and you can join your, I don't know, financial reporting class from all around the world. And you've got that digital classroom, and the technology does exist. The future of education actually is all about trying to maximize your learning potential. And there's big trends within the industry about personalization. The emphasis is now on how you effectively learn. And I often try and get students to look at how they learn and really figure out, well, do I learn best in a classroom, which many students do? And I do think that the classroom learning is extremely valuable, probably one of the best ways that you can learn anything, particularly in the professional qualifications world. But also, how can it be complemented through the use of digital innovation? And is there ways in which you now learn, be that YouTube, social media, bite-sized snippets on TikTok, for example, and you can learn in a more bite-sized manner? One of the trends within the future of learning is the acceleration of remote learning. And we saw this very much so in the last 4 months, where you as students and also members and other stakeholders who are seeking to learn more and upskill can do that online. And some of our fantastic learning partners globally were able to harness the power of digital to continue to support their students and clients. There is a greater emphasis on personalized learning, and we see this through learning management systems, particularly when I've worked in the world of learning management systems through different learning partners, where they will look at what people are particularly not so good at and try and curate their resources to be more personalized. So, for example, if I wasn't very good at, I don't know, accruals, for example, well, my learning management system would pull resources to try and help me learn about accruals. But if, for example, Helen was really good at accruals, that wouldn't be very good for her. So the greater personalization, maybe she needs to learn more about, I don't know, International Accounting Standard 18. So therefore, they will curate different areas of syllabus for your papers to try and personalize your learning. And that really helps with your journey and your study journey. And it allows you to really focus on areas that you are not so good at and develop those competencies. One of the other trends in relation to the future of learning is the hands-on and project-based learning. Now, the ACCA qualification really does actually recognize the need for practical experience, because to become a member of the ACCA, you require at least a minimum of 36 months relevant practical experience in accounting and finance role. So we do understand that you need the on-the-job learning, and you would do that and keep track of that through your PER, your practical experience requirements, objectives, and keep a log of this. Exams and assessments are going to change, and we've seen this very recently, even in the Middle East, but also around the world. And we've seen that not just in ACCA, but many organizations, be that universities or other professional bodies, have also moved to innovate and be agile with their exams. And I'll talk a little bit about what we're doing very shortly. Faster learning, I've seen this myself. I actually very much believe that there is a place for faster learning in terms of bite-sized learning modules, purely because a lot of people's attention spans are often shrinking. And I've had it where students are in classrooms and they'll be flicking through their phones. And it isn't that they are being, insulting. It's just that maybe they've drifted and no longer can they sit there for an hour or 2 hours. They maybe just need more bite-sized learning. And that's where, short, punchy videos, things like YouTube channels, or even, different online learning products really complement the classroom with those short, punchy sort of learning modules. And then there's the need for enhanced educational tools. And again, I'll talk about some of the resources that are available to students, but also our learning partners and the hubs that we have available, because we as a professional body also try and upskill our learning partners globally through the hub that we have. And I'll talk about that very briefly. So a little bit on the qualification. For those who aren't too familiar with it, you have to complete the examinations route through the ACCA qualification. But there's also the need for ethical professional skills module, which you can see on this diagram, in addition to your 3 years of relevant work experience. Now, many of you will be fortunate if you went to university or are going to go to university that you can be awarded graduates from specific universities which we have mapped their degree programs in alignment to the ACCA qualification. So many of you may achieve exemptions, but for those who don't, you can work through the applied knowledge skills, applied knowledge level, into the applied skills, and then the strategic professional level. Now at the applied knowledge, here is where you learn about the fundamentals of a business, so accountant in business. You also learn about the fundamentals in managerial accounting and the fundamentals in accounting or financial accounting. And then these exams, we build upon the knowledge and we increase maybe the perceived difficulty level, because as we know, we want to incrementally create your level of knowledge and acumen to improve. And we deal with things like corporate and business law within the applied skills, performance management, taxation, financial reporting, audit and assurance, and financial management. Now, at this level, where we've got those sort of 9 exams ticked off, we then would take the step up to the strategic professional level, which offers a bit of flexibility within the qualification. Now, I really like this level. I think it's a fantastic part of the qualification, which looks at us as leaders, business leaders, from a more strategic point of view. So whereas before we might be doing a lot of preparation work and doing lots of calculations, here we are taking the preparation work and the calculations and building on it with our professional insights from a strategic point of view. So the Strategic Business Leader exam and the Strategic Business Reporting exam are our 2 essential exams that are required to be done in order to qualify as a ACCA member. In here, you are looking at from a sort of case study perspective, particularly in the SBL and Strategic Business Reporting, we are looking at key considerations in international accounting standards, as well as a broader frameworks for competency frameworks, such as ethical considerations as well. One of the great things about ACCA is the flexibility in its options. So you may choose only 2 of the 4 of these exams. So you may choose to do advanced financial management and advanced performance management, advanced taxation, or advanced audit and assurance. And that very much depends on your route and your flexibility in your career. You may start out by thinking, do you know what, I'm going to become an expert in audit. So you can do your advanced audit and assurance paper, and then you really have a nice interest in taxation. So you choose to do the advanced taxation exam. However, we recognize that many of you also work in industry. So you may work for a corporate, a PLC, or an LTD, or a bank. So therefore, you might need to develop your understanding and have more competencies in financial management or performance management, which is more of a managerial performance management accountancy realm. Our exams have very much been digitalized since 1998. We've had computer-based exams for many years. So over the years, we have gradually increased the number of exams that we have made available through computer-based exams. Now, in some markets, for example, the United Kingdom and some of mainland Europe, we have completely moved all of our qualification onto computer-based exams. So every single one of these exams you can do on a computer. And we believe that very much reflects, the real world of work, where people are now learning and working on computers all the time. For our region, so I relate to the Middle East, we have been doing incremental phased approach of creating and launching our computer-based exams. So in every market, you'll be able to do your computer-based exams up to the applied skills level, and we are rolling out the strategic professional level over the next 6 to 12 months. Now, given the date today, I believe that many of you may have questions in relation to one of our latest innovations, which is remote invigilation. Now, here we have been extremely agile and innovative as a professional body to bring to many of you the ability to be able to do your exams from your home. And we will be hosting a separate webinar, and there's a host of resources on remote invigilation on our website, so you can learn more about this. But I just want to touch on it because our objective here is to allow you as students to progress even in the face of difficulties through the qualification, and therefore offering you remote invigilation in those markets that have been affected detrimentally by COVID-19 will allow you to be able to continue with your progression. We have a host of study support resources that are freely available and prepared by industry experts to help assist you and all of your peers on their ACCA journey. They're freely available on our website. You can embrace this by going on our website. There's many videos, downloadable PDFs, interactive PDFs such as study resource planners, examiners reports, and they're all free, which is amazing. We've also got, an abundance of quality global approved learning partners, and particularly in the region in the Middle East, we've got some world leading learning partners. And these guys have been absolutely fantastic in supporting you and our student community in getting through your qualification for decades, and particularly in the last few months, whereby they have embraced the power of digital to offer, innovative solutions such as online learning, live classrooms, streamed online, WhatsApp groups, additional support, mock exams, which are done online and then they're able to be marked. The evolution through the computer-based exams and upskilling you as students. I would highly advocate enlisting an approved learning partner if you are a student, because ultimately you have a higher chance of success. And you can find them on our approved learning partner directory on our website. We have a virtual learning centre which provides support for you as students for English, maths, as well as getting to know if you are ready for your next level of the ACCA, particularly for those who are coming in with exemptions and maybe starting straight on at the strategic professional level. Here on the virtual learning centre, this is an interactive portal you can log on to and try and look at upskilling yourself with your maths and English, as well as understanding if you have the necessary foundations to move into strategic business leader, strategic business reporting, audit and assurance, or advanced audit and assurance, advanced taxation, advanced performance management, and advanced finance management. Because as you could probably see from our incremental diagram, we don't just assume that you would forget everything from each level. We actually would expect you to retain the knowledge as you work through the qualification to ensure that you can then take that knowledge and take it into the higher levels. And the actual virtual learning centre is a fantastic resource to try and see where your level is at that point. For those who are online and thinking, well, how do we support our learning partners? And remember, one of the key trends within the education landscape is enhanced educational tools. We have an education hub for our learning partners. So if you're an approved learning partner through the ACCA's Learning Partner Scheme, you can access the online toolkits, you as tutors and learning partners, and therefore this will allow you to know how to, learn more about the different resources that are freely available that you can give to your students. It's a fantastic hub. We've got a teaching hub, a tutor support hub, a management hub, a news hub, a community hub, as well as the COVID-19 tutor hub. And here we have an immense amount of resources to support you, for example, with the integration of strategic professional computer-based exams and resources from expert tutor gurus globally who are offering online training as well. Hopefully you can see by now from our presentation, doesn't time fly when you're having fun, that we are very much more than numbers. We are a global professional body, and we focus on empowering and inclusivity of everybody towards education. We truly believe that it is, the key to social mobility, and it is your global passport. How do you register? Well, you can go on to accaglobal.com and /apply now. You can also reach us, and I'll come back to questions in a second, on our Middle East hub. So you can go on to www.accame.me, and there you can find all the latest. You should follow us on social media if you don't already. So Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, just look for ACCA Middle East. And there you'll be able to keep up to date with all the latest research, activities, events, CPD events. We've been hosting some wonderful continuous professional development events of recent. And I would absolutely advocate for anybody watching this now or watching it back, go check out our Middle East hub, go and check out our social media, give us an email at educationme@acccaglobal.com, or give the office a ring if you have any questions, which then does lovely lead me into questions. Now, I'm just going to hop over to the actual comments panel, see if anything's popped in there. And then also I've got a few questions that came in earlier as well. Brilliant. Right. Hi, everyone. Oh, great to see many of you. And it's lovely that we've had these welcoming messages. So, hello, everyone. Thank you very much. There's plenty of links being sent in. So, hopefully, you've taken them down as well. It's amazing. I thank you for the compliment. And really good. So, first question from Mohammed: deadline for registering for the September remote computer-based exams. Well, actually, the deadline for the standard exam entry deadline has passed. That was the 27th, but there is a final exam entry deadline, I believe, in the next few days. So if you haven't registered for your exam already, please make sure you register for it as soon as possible. Brilliant. Right. Well, there was a few questions that I had earlier as well. So one of the questions that I had, which I'll just sort of have make sure I've got it correct, which I really liked, was in relation to, will accountants be replaced by robots? And I think, it's a really interesting thing to get asked that, because it's something that I get asked on a relatively regular basis. And the answer is no, we won't get replaced by robots. We will be very much adding value to what the robotics can do, artificial intelligence and all forms of, computing. Here we go. Will accountants be replaced by robots? No, we won't. We will be able to add value. We will be able to upskill and ensure that we do use this sort of technology advancements, changes in the way in which we process information to support our stakeholders and our clients and our customers to be better formed in decision making. One of the questions that popped up before that, what can I do to stay up to date with technology throughout the profession? Well, one of the first things you should really do is actually go on and download our ACCA app. So we have many apps. One is we have the accountant and business app, and we also have the student accountant app. If you've got these applications, you will receive regular updates. I would also advocate going on to your My ACCA portal and ensuring that your details, if you are registered with us, are up to date, because then we can keep you informed of all the latest developments. If you are a member and wanted to upskill in your digital innovation, check out our certificates in DIF. That's a fantastic certificate to upskill and understand how digital is being embraced and technology is being embraced throughout the profession. One of the other questions that I get regularly asked, how do students keep focused while studying online? Um, it's interesting because many students will often associate online learning with being a little bit more distanced. But I think it very much comes down to the quality of the provider as well, and how they engage you as the student. So they can do that through regular chats like you guys have done with me today by engaging on the chat and comment section. They can do that through WhatsApp groups, creating a student community, which I think is an extremely important tool because you can learn from one another. Also, making sure that you are learning in a sort of personalized way at your own pace, whereby you can, pick up things and put them down. You can actually log in and pause videos which are recorded, and you can use that blended learning approach. Many students try to keep focused because there's lots of distractions. So simple things as, getting rid of your mobile phone, going into a quiet room, they're all really practical tips and techniques that will help you stay focused while studying online. Right. Well, I think that that brings us very much into a couple of other questions. There we go. So one of the other questions that I get asked is, why accountancy? And I find that quite an interesting question because it's something that I actually asked myself when I joined the profession a little over 10 years ago now. And I think one of the best things about accountancy is its diversity, how interchangeable and sort of your career and your skill set can be throughout the profession. You do add value. Now, I talked earlier about having the global language of business. Every business requires some understanding, if not fundamentally underpinned by the understanding of accounting and finance. And it's an essential skill for every business or every operator to be able to reconcile their accounting and finance knowledge to the operations of their business. So that's why I think accounting is extremely valuable. We are there at the front runners of sort of leading economies. We help with sustainability reporting. It's not just the numbers, and I'll keep reiterating that. We are very much the profession that can be so adaptable to every possible organization. What other job roles could you have other than accountancy? Really good question. So you can also move into things like advisory services. So you might not just want to work as an accountant who does preparation or taxation or auditing. You can move into consulting. You can move into technology. I've seen lots, and it's quite apt we talk about this because the digital innovations throughout the profession create opportunities for you to move into technology. So you move and you work for a qualification body, for example, like the ACCA, or you move and you work for Microsoft as somebody who can work with the technology and understand how to apply it within the accountancy world. Great question coming in. Thank you, Nahad. Hi, Alex. Can you send the link for the recording of this webinar? I'm sure you'll be able to have this afterwards. So thank you. Lovely to see you as well. You'll be able to get this link. We'll publish it on our social media channels. So you'll be able to find it there on our LinkedIn or on our YouTube as well as our Facebook. Brilliant. Well, I actually think that, to be fair, we've got a few other questions coming in, so we'll keep going. Do I have to be good with English and maths? I think that comes very much from a place of the profession being rooted in a sort of mathematical mindset, but not so much anymore. It used to be, well, you're good at maths, become an accountant or an engineer. Well, bluntly, you are probably going to be more valuable, and we see this throughout our research continuously, with the ability to have better levels of communication and soft skills in the profession. Mathematics is something that we can teach you. You don't need a degree in maths. In fact, you only need really I believe it's an A level or a GCSE in maths. In fact, yes, a GCSE in maths or the equivalent to get in and apply for the qualification. At the professional levels, you can actually enter the qualification through our diplomas if you have lower level qualifications as well. And you don't need to be fantastic at English or maths. You can upskill in both of these. So it's not fundamental that you have to be a whiz kid, so to speak, at maths to then become an accountant. In fact, it's much more valuable to be good at things like communication and teamwork. No problem, Nahad. Right. Well, I think that leads us lovely into sort of closing few points. So I think, we've had a little bit of a discussion. Hopefully you found this useful. Just some key takeaways. We are not being replaced by robots. Accountants are an essential part of every business economy. We are very sustainable individuals. We are the future of every profession, trying to underpin and underline that our accountancy knowledge is fundamental, but then we build on this through our incremental qualification and we help communities globally. If you do have any other questions, please do reach out to us. Our contact details, if I just go back to this slide, are here. And I look forward to sort of seeking, if you do have any questions, get in touch through educationme@ACCA Global. Thank you everyone who joined live. For those who are watching it back, I look forward to receiving your questions in due course.